Hello, Nancy here.
And Scott.
And we don't normally do podcast episodes together, but we thought it'd be fun to actually jump on and kind of share with you our experiences and some things that we commonly see that newer and even experienced entrepreneurs, three things that they struggle with. Right. These are things that pop up, in every day. We just see people kind of going through them. So today, we're going to kind of break down those three things. So, kicking it off with the first thing that we usually see, it's a little thing called shiny object syndrome. So, Scott, you want to share a little bit about this and kind of what we see around that?
I see this a lot in entrepreneurship, and I think it's always been around, but I think since kind of the world was flipped upside down during the pandemic in 2020, it's now been 2.5 years. So many entrepreneurs moved to the online space, and so many people have courses being created. They have free opt-ins. They have product after product. And the more time that people are spending on social media, because they're spending a ton of time right now, I read somewhere that the average person sees about 17 to 25 ads a day that is specifically targeted to them. And everyone is jumping from one thing to the next. And something that Nancy and I believe in, this has been our principle for the last 4 years, is something called singular focus, focusing on one thing, whether it's one social media platform, one mastermind that you're in, one course that you've bought. And what we're seeing with a lot of entrepreneurs is that they are bouncing and leapfrogging from one thing to the next. Ooh, that looks good. I'm going to buy that. Ooh, that looks great. I'm going to join that program. Ooh, I'm going to download this. And Nancy will tell you, I would say a few years back, she was the queen of collecting things and putting them in binders. And I mean, it was template after template and course after course. I mean, she spent a lot of money on things that just got stored on the shelf. Some things we did use 100%, but there was a lot that we didn't. But, again, once we kind of stepped back from that and said, let's not get anything else new until we finish this. This is the big problem that a lot of entrepreneurs are having. And if you're that person listening to this and you are bouncing from one thing to the next, and we're not telling you don't go to a free workshop like the ones that we have, don't go to a paid workshop like the ones that we have. But if you're going to invest your time, you're going to invest your money, you better apply what you learn. And everyone wonders why aren't I any more forward in my business than I am 6 months ago? Or why did my business go backwards over the last 12 months? Well, did you finish anything that you started? So if you're going to join a workshop, if you're going to join a challenge, if you are going to buy a course, if you are going to download something, if you are going to join a mastermind, squeeze the juice out of it. Do not bounce from one thing to the next. And if you allow the shiny object syndrome to continue to repeat its patterns in your life and in your business, nothing is going to move forward. And you are going to be in the same place now, and you're going to be in the same place 2 years from now and 5 years from now.
Absolutely. And just like what Scott said, I mean, you've got to implement. If you made the investment and you're doing something and there was a purpose for doing it, make sure that you're learning it and implement it if you actually, make that commitment. The other thing, just to kind of tag off there, and this is just a tip to leave you guys with, and that is something that I learned a long time ago. And I learned it whenever it came to shiny object syndrome with tech, right? With software and tech. And Scott knows I'm a
AppSumo.
huge tech nerd. Yes.
AppSumo.
Oh my gosh. Don't even tell them about AppSumo. So yeah. Oh my gosh. AppSumo is like the best. So they have a bunch of different software programs, but anyway, so my whole point is whenever it comes to tech, right, there's always going to be a new shiny, I call it a shiny little, tech thing every month, every week, guys. Okay. The thing is, and this is the rule of thumb, you got to pick what works for you and you got to stick with it. Okay. There will always be something new. There will always be something, that somebody else is talking about and really featuring, unless the thing is not working for you anymore, the way that it was once doing, once working, then you can maybe take a look, but you have to really, use what works for you and stick with it. Okay. I've seen the behind the scenes of so many people's businesses, and I've seen people spin their wheels for years. I've literally seen this. People who are spinning their tires saying, oh, well, let me research this product, this program. Let me research that software. Let me do this. Let me do that. And they were literally bouncing from program to program and software to software. Pick what works for you and stick with it. Okay.
And the last thing I'm going to say to this, and we're going to move on to number two, is before you choose what you're actually going to invest in, whether it's time or money, sit down and write down what's actually going on in your business. Where are you struggling? What gaps or holes need to be filled? Where is the kink in the hose of your business? Don't waste your time on a workshop that has no relevance to where you are in your business. Do not buy a course that you're not going to use because you don't even need it right now. Well, I'll get to it in about 6 months. Well, that means you're never going to get to it. Don't invest in a mastermind that is not relevant or is going to help you in where you are on your journey. Only spend your time and your money on those things that you actually need. And the one thing that I know for certain, every workshop that Nancy and I do, whether it's our current repurposing workshop or our content creation workshop or our LinkedIn challenges, or we have our online business blueprint coming out later this year, we always find out from our audience, what is it that they want to learn? What are they struggling with? So it's the majority rules type of scenario. People want to learn how to repurpose their content. People want to learn how to grow an online business. People want to learn how to create content. So we are on the other side of that, not only of the want of the person, but we are the one delivering to the wants. So think about what you want for your business and seek out those people that are delivering the value on what it is that's going to move you forward in your business.
Absolutely. All right. So it brings us to our second, right, thing that entrepreneurs struggle with. The second thing is a little thing we call analysis paralysis. Okay. And this is that time where, as entrepreneurs, right, again, kind of like the shiny object syndrome, we're kind of like seeing all these things and we're getting kind of overwhelmed by all this stuff. And, because it's something new, whether it's online tech or actually having the business that you're, starting or building, you have a lack of confidence, right? You often struggle. And so it actually causes you, right? We all often hear the word, I just feel stuck, or I'm spinning my tires, or I can't move forward and I'm really not sure why. Or you get some of that imposter syndrome, right? As kind of like another symptom of this. But what happens is whenever we kind of stand in our own way and we aren't able to move forward and do what we call that messy, right, uncomfortable action, you're going to stay stuck. Okay. So as an entrepreneur, many times as we get started and as we're moving, and guys, I say as we get started, but really it could be as if you're an entrepreneur for years and maybe you're coming out with a new product or service, you've got to take messy action. Confidence comes from experience, right? Confidence comes from competence, right? Learning and experiencing it and doing the do. So until you've done the do, how are you supposed to have confidence? So I see so many entrepreneurs saying, oh my gosh, this doesn't look perfect, or my website's not exactly how I want it to be, or this logo doesn't look quite the way that I want, or my brand colors aren't, perfect. Stop. We're going to at some point have to press go, and we're going to have to move forward with what we have. Okay. Because you can sit here in your own head and kind of in your own space for a really long time and you can stay stuck. Right. So it's time. And that's kind of the tip, right? Is you need to take messy action. You need to take that action so that you can start working with people. Okay. And then you can start getting that experience under your belt, which again, like I said, leads to confidence. Okay. And, Scott and I also talked, a little bit about, actually last week, this was a big conversation topic on we have mindset calls each week. And we talked about ladders. You want to talk about that a little bit, the different ladders?
Well, everyone has a ladder that they're climbing in their business. Nancy and I are climbing our ladder. We're helping other people, climb their own ladder. But the one thing that you can't get sucked into is waiting for someone to push you up your own ladder. So whether you're in a mastermind, whether you have a business coach or a mentor or someone that influences you in a positive way that you're following, and you're holding on to the rungs of your ladder and you're waiting for them to do something that's going to enable you to push you up, it's all fine, well and good, but you have to understand that person that you are mentoring with, that person that you're coaching with, that mastermind that you join that is being led by an individual or individuals, don't forget they're an entrepreneur just like you, looking to climb their own ladder. So if you expect or are waiting for someone to help you climb up your own ladder, it's not going to happen. Every great coach and mentor and leader is going to give you all the tools necessary required to climb your own ladder. And it's really up to you to take the bull by the horns and just climb up that ladder one at a time. Now, you don't have to climb as fast as myself and Nancy. You don't have to climb as fast or as slow as a mentor or coach that you're working with, but you yourself are responsible for your own ladder to climb. So instead of expecting someone to do it for you, you have to do it for yourself. And this brings up something earlier that Nancy was talking about. There was one word that came to mind, and it's the word perfection. I see so many entrepreneurs chasing something that does not exist. They're waiting for the perfect time. They're waiting for the perfect brand colors. They're waiting for the perfect program, the perfect this, the perfect that. I think what entrepreneurs that are listening to this need to understand, you are waiting for a time that doesn't exist. And what Nancy and I know now is that we're not going to pretend anymore that we are promised tomorrow. We're not going to waste a single day. We squeeze the juice out of every single day as often as we can, because you don't know when the lights are going to be turned off. You don't know what something is going to come up, something is going to happen that's going to derail you. So when you stop waiting for perfection and you take that messy action, as Nancy talked about, or perfectly imperfect action, the needle of your business is going to be moving forward in the right direction. You're not going to be double dutching anymore. You're not in one day and out the next. And then you're going to find yourself consistently climbing up your own ladder, and you will be absolutely amazed at the things that you can achieve once you get out of your own way and you take that messy, perfectly imperfect action.
Absolutely. And like Scott mentioned, that perfection, I actually love the quote. It's, you're not a perfectionist, you're just scared. Right. So a lot of times this is fear, right? So we got to put ourselves out there. We got to take that messy action, and it's time to step up, right? The best version of yourself, be that leader, get out there. All right, so number 3. So this is one that is actually really near and dear to my heart, because I see a lot of different people go through this. I've been through it myself, but it's something I call the dip. Okay, so imagine this, right? And if you've ever seen that grid where it's like the life of an entrepreneur, right? It starts off and it's like, oh my gosh, life is great. I'm so inspired. I feel awesome, right? And that little like bar graph, that little scatter chart's going up and up and up. And you're so excited and you're hitting the ground running. And then all of a sudden, maybe that third month, you're like, what am I doing? What did I do? What decision have I made? Like, and it starts going kind of like crazy. So what happens is it's that stage where you're starting to really struggle to focus. You're not really sure what you should be doing. You sit down at your computer and you kind of stare at it for a minute in the morning, and then you open like 20 tabs and you don't even know where to start. Okay. So it's kind of like that overwhelm, right? That just feeling of like, oh my gosh, what did I just do? So let's call it the dip, right? So this is the third struggle we see, and we see this all the time. So again, if you're feeling this, you are not alone. And I have a solution for you. But before I give you the solution, is there anything you want to add to that, Scott?
Well, I think if you understand that, an analogy that I always use is something that Darren Hardy always talks about, the entrepreneur roller coaster. And if you use that analogy, what's the first thing that you do when you get into a roller coaster? You pull down the safety harness, because you'll fly out, because literally that roller coaster, it's twisting, it's turning, you're doing loops, you're sometimes even go backwards, right? There's a lot of roller coasters that stop and then you go in reverse. And that's a great depiction of sometimes how business is. Nancy and I, transparently, we prepared to take a step back in our business over these next 12 months, because we changed the focus of how we wanted to create income in our business. we focused solely and mostly the last few years on active income, meaning, a lot of paid in full stuff, a lot of consulting with Nancy, a lot of consulting with me, paid speaking. So, waiting for that next sale, that next drop in the bucket. And listen, things have been great, but we want to be able to have more time freedom. So we had a powwow at the end of Q3 last year, beginning of Q4, and we said, listen, we're going to be shifting everything to passive income or residual based income. So subscription based model, a lot of virtual products, monthly type memberships. And we knew that, it would take some time to ramp up. We called it our 36-month ramp up. It's going to take about 2 to 3 years to exceed and pass where we were in 2020 and 2021. But we're prepared for that because we know that it's a steady climb. So in essence, we were willing to take a slight step back to be able to gain so much moving forward. And those are part of the dips in business when, for the longest time, we were both kind of addicted to getting those big drops of income into our bank accounts. But any business coach, any high level entrepreneur, and if they're not telling you this, they're lying. As quick as that money comes in, that money goes right out, whether it's reinvesting back into the business or buying something for your house, like a new kitchen or whatever it is. It's always going to be circulating. But what Nancy and I really wanted to create, and this is something that we teach in our mastermind, is creating those passive residual based income so you can create that time and that flexible freedom that we all deserve. So you have to understand that in entrepreneurship, there are going to be high highs and there's going to be low lows, and we call them seasons. And Nancy and I can tell when there's a season going on.
Yeah, and he'll have one and then I'll have one, but we shouldn't have one at the same time.
But sometimes our seasons do overlap because we do run our company together now. And we were much more separate about 3 years ago, but we, are more of a united front as far as business wise now. So we end up, cross-pollinating our seasons sometimes. But we always talk about there's also seasons that are going on in entrepreneurship in general. And we feel like we just came out of one. The last couple of weeks have been really weird, but we know this is part of the game. That's why entrepreneurship takes a certain type of person to be able to work through all of this. And I love the quote by Simon Sinek, and he says, no matter how dark the tunnel is, there's always a light at the end of it. And you got to keep walking forward in order to find it. So if you take that analogy and understand, not every month is going to be great. And this is another thing. A lot of entrepreneurs, all you see them posting about is the months that they crushed it, right? They had their 6-figure month, they had their $30,000 week, but they're not talking about the shitty moments where things got flipped upside down, and Nancy and I have been transparent. There have been so many things that have gone right. There have been so many things that have gone wrong. So if you're expecting to have a dip at some point in your business, you may not be ready for entrepreneurship. And you can never fully prepare yourself for the dips in entrepreneurship because you don't know what's going to cause it, where it's going to come from, what it's tied to. But if you understand that every valley has a peak, you know that you're going to go on your way up at some point.
Yeah. So just like I mentioned, I want to give you a tip. Of course, don't want to leave you and just say, all right, well, good luck with that.
Good luck with that. See you later, everybody.
Have fun, right? So, again, with the dip, right, and you having like maybe an inability to focus and get going again, right, where you're kind of struggling to come out of that. The best thing that you can do for you and your business, I will tell you, this is it, right? This is the biggest thing, is you need routines and structure. Okay. If you are hitting that roadblock, and again, I said it earlier, right? It's where you're sitting down at your computer, you're waking up, you have no motivation, you feel exhausted, you feel like, what am I doing? What is this business I've been trying to start? You feel lost, you feel overwhelmed, you're feeling a lot of feelings probably, right? There might even be tears. Okay. You need structure and routines, because structure and routines will help you be consistent. Okay. And consistency after long periods of time always leads to success, right? If you are consistent and you are having really clear goals, You got this. Okay. So for people who are out there, you started your entrepreneurship journey, you don't have structure, you don't have routines, you don't have any kind of project management happening, meaning like all your ideas are up in your head and all your daily tasks are maybe on like a quick little to-do list. It's time to get some structure in your business. Okay. And so the tips to take it a little bit deeper, I actually used to do a training and it was actually fun because a lot of these tools that I'm about to mention for you guys, I actually learned this on multiple podcasts that I listened to years ago. Okay. But I taught this class and it was always such a wonderful class to teach because everyone always walked away just with their minds blown because they're like, holy cow, this is so easy. I want to start implementing this right away. So the 3 T's that I came up with were one is Trello. So Trello is a project management tool. Okay. And if you've never heard of Trello, just check it out. It's actually got an amazing free version. It's TRELLO.com. And what it is it's almost like, it's very Kanban style, which is kind of list, right? It's like list after list where you can kind of drag things from to do to doing to done, and many other different things. But basically it's a way for you to organize. It could be your days, your weeks, or even projects that you have coming up, right? So it's a place to get it out of your head and on to something, right? Something else to kind of hold all that information. The second T in the 3 T's is Toby. Okay. So Toby is an actual Google Chrome extension. Okay. And you can find it at gettoby.com, and Toby is spelled TOBY. Check it out. Okay. I can't even explain it. It won't even do it justice, but you got to watch the little video on the, on the actual site. It's free. Okay. And what it does is it turns your Google Chrome tabs into really cool little bookmarks and organized, structure. So you can actually go and do your normal routine that you do in a day. So for example, I could go to my email. Okay. And I could click the little Toby button. So it now adds my email URL or my website, right, to that Toby. So it bookmarks it. Then I could say, all right, well, I'm going to go check Facebook and I'm going to engage with, 10 friends or something, or I'm going to go on a Facebook group and I'm going to, engage in there for 10 minutes. I can go to that Facebook group and then click the little T for Toby, and it's going to save that URL. Okay. Then maybe I want to go to LinkedIn and connect for 20 minutes. And then I click the T for Toby. What I now have the ability to do is now every time I click on my tab, I can now click into that little section I made, and it's got all my daily things that I do where I can just click and go, click and go, click and go. It also is a great way to kind of organize. And again, if you created a Trello board to create your routine and all that cool stuff, you can also have your Trello board in there in your Toby. So again, before I try to even explain that even further, just go check it out. It's gettoby.com. The other T, okay, is very simple. And for those of you watching the video, because we did record this on video as well, I have a timer in my hand. Okay, so the 3rd T is for timer. And I do something called the Pomodoro technique, which is 20-minute sprints. Okay. And this keeps me under control. It gives me little goals, right? So I say, all right, I've got 20 minutes to get this thing knocked off my to-do list. Okay. So I can't tell you how many things you can get done in 20 minutes when you're actually focused, right? Like, I just, before we jumped on here, I had to pre-schedule out a reminder email for tomorrow morning. And in my head, I'm like, I got to send out this reminder for the workshop to everybody. It's going to take a while. How long did that take me?
2 seconds.
Literally 2 seconds. So set a little timer and then sprint goals, right? To try to get done those things that you need to get done, right? So that is my last tip, right? For the 3 T's. And those are 3 things that you can do to start building some structure, some routines, and also giving yourself a little bit of, deadline to help you get things done.
So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. We're going to link in the description where you can check out Trello, Toby. And again, the Pomodoro timer,
I got this on.
It's on Amazon.
Yep.
You can just find it there. And, wherever you're listening to this to, whether it's Spotify, Apple, iTunes, wherever, leave a review, a rating. Let us know what you loved. We hope you enjoyed this dual episode, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye, everyone. Networking and marketing made simple is for you, the business owner who has a product, a service, or a message that you believe in. My name is Scott Aaron, and each week we'll take a behind-the-scenes look into the real-world marketing and networking tactics and strategies for getting what you have in front of you to a lot more people. Thanks for spending time with me. And now let's get started. Thank you so much again for checking out today's episode. And if you are listening through iTunes, Spotify, wherever you are, please leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you loved, what you would like to see improved, or ideas you have for future episodes. And if you are interested in taking your business to the next level, don't hesitate to go to my website, www.scottaaron.net, where you can schedule a free discovery call with me, where I can learn more about you, your business, what you're struggling with, and how we can work together. And don't forget to check out my wife, Nancy, and mine, our free community on Facebook called LinkedIn Leads for Life. We would love to see you in there. Have a great rest of your day. And thank you everyone for your support. Grateful for each and every one of you.